I have to say that the foundation stone upon which any agreement or indeed the conduct of negotiations rests is on trust and on mutual trust. And no one party to any agreement can unilaterally undermine that agreement or deviate from that agreement. And I've been very clear about that in statements I made this morning at a press conference in relation to Brexit readiness for the entire country. The unilateral nature of this decision by the British government does undermine trust. It's an international treaty, the withdrawal agreement. It is binding. And as far as Ireland and Europe, we're with the European Union on this. As far as we are concerned, the withdrawal agreement and the protocol is the legal position, remains the legal position, and is what has been agreed to and will not be resided from. And I spoke last evening to the President of the European Commission, President von der Leyen, and we both agreed that this was a very serious development. There was no prior notification to the Irish government at any level in relation to this decision or this measure. No heads up, so to speak. Whatever issues the United Kingdom government has in terms of the implementation of the protocol or the working through of the protocol are issues that should be dealt with in the context of the negotiations which were due to commence, are commencing this week in terms of the joint committee and the specialised committee. That's why they were established under the withdrawal agreement itself. And what was announced yesterday by the Secretary of State in very crude terms represents a very new departure in terms of the conduct of international relations and the conduct of relationships between governments. And the European Union is very concerned about this, as I am. And I will be speaking to the British Prime Minister today, as I announced this morning, primarily to register our position, not to become embroiled in some exercise that the British government is becoming involved in. We have to be extremely clear and firm in terms of where we stand as a country in terms of the withdrawal agreement and the protocol, and we intend to do that. And we have to register, and I will be registering with the British Prime Minister, our complete opposition to the decision that has been taken. And also the modus operandi, the manner in which this has been taken, the lack of any prior consultation and engagement. Because I've been involved in negotiations before with UK governments, I've been involved in negotiations with Europe in terms of Lisbon treaties and so on. Proper negotiations are conducted on a no-surprises basis, of proper engagement with people in advance and utilising various channels to try and get to an agreement. That did not happen in relation to this specific issue. And the other additional point I want to make is that I think to drag Northern Ireland back into the centre stage is very divisive and extremely regrettable, in the sense that there was an acceptance, and I don't want to put words into anybody's mouths here, irrespective of people's stances on Brexit, people had accepted the de facto reality of the protocol and of the withdrawal agreement, and were getting on with it in terms of using the mechanisms of the agreement, the withdrawal agreement, to deal with issues. So we're under, the government of Ireland here is unequivocal in relation to this and very clear-minded in terms of our response to the British initiative. I think you're wrong in your analysis there in terms of the lateness and all this kind of stuff, and you shouldn't be seeking to try and divide the House here on a very fundamental matter of our commitment to the adherence of international agreements. I'm as resolute as you or anybody else in this House, and so is the government, in terms of adherence to international treaties. But what we don't do, though, is just knee-jerk react to any particular move in the middle of negotiations. We're clear about the international agreement, the withdrawal agreement. We're clear about the Northern Ireland Protocol. If the UK government isn't, that's an issue they have to come to terms with. They agreed this. And so the point is that we weren't going to become embroiled in their particular problems or difficulties, whatever they may be in relation to this particular or aspects of the protocol. So It makes a lot of sense. You don't just jump into something, Deputy. And I do have a lot of experience in negotiations. You allow things evolve. British government have taken a decision unilaterally. That's very serious. It's very serious. The stakes are very high. And they're very high for people out there. They're very high for jobs, economy, employment. Very high. And that's why I believe the action taken by the British government is very serious. It undermines trust, which, as I said at the outset of my contribution, represents the foundation stone upon which negotiations are conducted and can only be conducted. Can only be conducted on the basis of trust. And we cannot have individual parties to an agreement unilaterally undermining that agreement. And that will be communicated to the UK Prime Minister. And in addition, Ireland will be in partnership with the European Union in our response to all of this.